Dear scholars, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. In the last session, we discussed Rousseau's first discourse on sciences and arts, and we found that Rousseau criticizes sciences and arts. His argument is that sciences and arts have made people clever, and now they pay more attention to talent rather than virtue. So people have learned how to pretend to be virtuous rather than being virtuous actually. Secondly, he argued he argues that people has become lazy. Sedentary lifestyles have taken over people. So people are physically are not as active as they were or as they should be. So let us see in the second half what does he say. So in part two, Rousseau says there was an old tradition. It spread from Egypt to Greece. The tradition said that a god created the sciences. That god was hostile to human peace and calm. Usman, can you tell these people they are making so much noise? Thank you. Rousseau says that God was hostile to human peace and calm. We should ask, what did the Egyptians think of the sciences? The sciences were born in their country. The sciences were born in Egypt, Rousseau says. They could clearly see where the sciences came from. When we read the history of the world, we see something. When we add philosophical thinking to unclear histories, we also see the same thing. We do not find any source of human knowledge that matches our ideal image. We do not find any source of human knowledge that matches our ideal image. Astronomy came from superstition, eloquence came from ambition, it also came from hatred, it came from flattery, eloquence. Eloquence also came from lies, rhetoric. Geometry came from greed. Physics came from empty curiosity. All sciences came from human pride. So the mission, the purpose was not virtue. The purpose was not humanity. The purpose was pride. Even moral philosophy came from pride, morality. So the sciences and arts were born from our vices. Vices mean bad things. We would doubt them less. Their benefits would be clearer. This would be true if they were born from our virtues instead. The problem of their origin is easy to see. It appears clearly in the things the sciences aim for. It appears clearly in the things the sciences aim for. The sciences aim for pride. What would we do with the arts without luxury? Luxury feeds the arts. Without human injustice, we would not need law. If there were no injustice, there would be no need for law. What would happen to history? History would disappear if there were no tyrants. Tyrants mean cruel rulers. It would disappear. History would disappear if there were no wars. So history is mainly about tyrants and wars. It would disappear if there were no conspirators who conspire against others. So again, a bad thing. War is also a bad thing. Tyranny is also a bad thing. So history exists because of these bad things. Who would want to spend life on empty studies? No one would. If every person only cared about basic duties. If everyone is concerned about basic duties, there is no need for knowledge. No one would if every person cared only about natural needs. Natural needs. Then each person would have time for the country, for the community, for humanity, for friends, and for the suffering of others, for humanity, for serving the humanity. Were we created just to die while staring into a well? Were we created just to die while staring into a well? A well where truth has run away. This thought alone is enough. It should immediately stop anyone. It should stop anyone who seriously tries to find enlightenment in philosophy. So, in fact, he is trying to say the philosophers they are making efforts to find out the truth, and finding out the truth is as difficult as you just imagine a person is looking into a well and trying to find out where the truth has run away. And just he is waiting, she is waiting, and the time of death comes. So a person for the whole life is looking into a well, and meanwhile death comes. So the philosophers are like this. He is, but remember, Rousseau himself is a philosopher. Do not forget. It should stop anyone who seriously tries to find enlightenment in philosophy. So many dangers are around us. There are so many wrong paths in scientific research. A person must overcome many errors. A scientist, a scientist must overcome many errors. These errors are 1,000 times more dangerous than the usefulness of truth. One must overcome them to reach truth. The difficulties are easy to see. So, and the scientists, they also try to find out the truth. They are also trying to find out the reality of the things. So, reality and truth. These are the basic purposes of philosophy and sciences. The difficulties are easy to see. Human error can take endless forms. Truth has only one form. Also, who searches for truth sincerely? By what signs can even the most sincere person know they found it? There are many different opinions. In this crowd of opinions, what standard will be used to judge truth rightly? So, which of the philosophers is telling the truth? We don't know. All of them disagree with each other. Here is the biggest problem. Even if we are lucky enough to discover truth, who among us will know how to use it wisely? Even if we find out the truth, who knows how to use it wisely? If our sciences chase useless things, they become even more dangerous in their effects. The sciences were born from idleness. Idleness. They were idle. They feed idleness again. The first harm they bring to society is a huge loss of time. So, in Rousseau's view, People were free, they were idle, had nothing to do. They started sciences. They started doing science. The first harm they bring to society is a huge loss of time. So the scientists spend huge amounts of time in making experiments and discovering the things. Rousseau said they waste so much time. In politics and in morals, it is bad when a person does not do good. So let us try to understand why is he saying this. Rousseau, in fact, sees there is so much suffering in the world. So many people suffer due to poverty, due to lack of resources, due to lack of sympathy of the others. So there are many people who could help them, who are suffering, who are suffering. But those people prefer spending time on these ambitions, on research, on knowledge, on experiments, rather than going to see those who are suffering, who need their help. So people don't prefer helping others, they prefer their ambitions, which are based on knowledge, which are based on sciences, arts, and philosophy. This is what, in fact, Rousseau is trying to say. So he is not rejecting knowledge in science. In my understanding, Rousseau is not rejecting sciences and knowledge and arts and philosophy. In fact, he is trying to make us understand, he is trying to convince us is that if you are a scientist, if you are a philosopher, if you are an artist, if you are a knowledgeable person, it does not mean that you should not go and help others. We should also take some time and make effort to decrease the suffering of others. We should also help others. We should help the poor. We should help the weak. We should help the downtrodden. We should help the sick and diseased, the patients. So this is what he is trying to say. He is giving a humanitarian message that first of all we are human and we must help other humans. Humanity की बात करता है इसमें. Yes, basically we should prefer humanity.
साइंस भी और आर्ट्स भी तो जो है ह्यूमैनिटी या ह्यूमन को वो भी तो करती है, आंसर सेलेक्ट करती है। तो फिर इसने क्यों ऐसा किया है कि अब इसने जो है विलेज के जो है विलेजर जो है वो ज़्यादा सिंपल होते हैं, ऑनेस्ट होते हैं एज कम्पेयर टू अपना इसमें जो शहरी उनसे ज़्यादा, तो इसने क्यों ये क्यों फेड अप हो गया इन चीज़ों से?
Uh, yes, he is fed up because he finds, he believes that the knowledgeable people, they are not as concerned with humanity as an illiterate person is. An illiterate person has better values. He is more sympathetic to those who suffer. He may be more willing to help others. He may be more hospitable, more sincere, more honest. So when people say, I have argued many times, when people say that the illiterate people should not have the right to vote, they don't know how to vote, whom to vote. Some people argue, you know this? Some people argue this in Pakistan that the illiterate people, uneducated people, they should not have right to vote. So many times I have argued that all the government officials who are corrupt, are they illiterate? Then the answer comes no, they are educated. So I say when the most corrupt people are the most educated, so when then why to deprive the illiterate from the right to vote? Many times I have argued. So this is what Rousseau is trying to say, that if an illiterate person can be sincere to others, can be honest, can be sympathetic, can be helpful to others, the knowledgeable people, the scientists, the artists, the philosophers, they can also be more sympathetic, more honest, more sincere, more genuine. This is what he's trying to say. In fact, he has never asked to stop doing sciences, stop doing philosophy, stop doing art. He's not saying. He is criticizing harshly so that we pay attention to the actual message he wants to convey. The actual message is humanitarian values.
सर तभी तो वो ये बात करता है ना कि अब जैसे इंसान अमीर हो जाता है तो वो लग्जरीज में पड़ जाता है या करप्ट हो जाता है, उसका ये पॉइंट्स भी इसी तरफ जा रहे हैं।
Yes.
पहले ह्यूमैनिटी को एक साइड पे रखें, फिर मतलब ये चीजें बाद में आ रही हैं।
Yes, many times we know that there is a certain person uh, who may go to sleep without having food, without dinner. But we will pay few thousands on our air conditioning, on our heating, okay? But we will not give that money to that person who does not have money to eat, who does not have money to feed his family. We know many people in our society. So we prefer our luxuries, we prefer our pleasures over the basic needs of others.
सर ये चीज गांव में ज्यादा होती है, वो हेल्पिंग हैंड्स होते हैं, उनको पता होता है हमारी।
Yes.
और सिटीज में तो पता ही नहीं होता है।
Yes.
सर अभी यहाँ शहरों का तो यही हिसाब है, हमसायों को नहीं पता क्या चल रहा है क्या नहीं चल रहा।
No.
गांव में ये होता है कि एक दूसरे को सब खबर रखते हैं।
Yes, humanitarian values have weakened in cities more than in the villages. So there's a very clear difference.
सर इसकी बेसिक वजह क्या है?
Yes, Rousseau.
गैप आ रहा है सर।
Yes. Rousseau is telling. Rousseau tells, because through knowledge people learn how to pretend to be virtuous instead of being virtuous actually. A simple person, an illiterate person, does not know how to pretend. He cannot pretend. Yes, he is same from inside and outside. His behavior is genuine. He cannot pretend. A knowledgeable person, a university graduate, a college graduate, knows how to pretend, how to mock, how to hide the inner feelings, and how to pretend to be good. Whereas, in fact, he or she is not good. This is the problem. So he is trying to convince us, oh, the educated people, you also need to be sincere, honest, and sympathetic. This is what I have understood from this discourse. Okay, should we move forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In politics and in morals, it is bad when a person does not do good. Every useless citizen can be seen as a harmful person. Tell me then, you famous philosophers, you taught us how bodies attract each other in a vacuum. You taught us the relations of spaces traveled by planets and their revolutions. You taught us about curves with conjugate points. You taught us about curves with points of inflection. Inflection means a change of curvature from convex to concave at a particular point on a curve. You taught us about curves with cusps. Cusp means a pointed end where two curves meet. That is a cusp. You taught us how a person sees everything in God. You taught us how the soul and the body correspond like two clocks. They correspond without touching and without communicating. So, two clocks, they are separate. They are not connected with wires or anything else, but their time remains same. Same hours, same minutes, same seconds. Same is the case of the body and the spirit. They correspond to each other. You taught us which stars may have inhabitants. You taught us which insects reproduce in strange ways. Explain something to me. To me now. Explain something to me now. Rousseau says, "You who have given us so much high and lofty knowledge, if you had never taught us anything, would there be fewer people in the world? Would there be fewer people in the world? Would governments work worse? Would we be less powerful? Would we be less prosperous? Or would we be more wicked? Think again about how important your achievements really are. If the works of our wisest scholars and best citizens gave us so little real benefit, then tell us what to think of the crowd of unknown writers. Tell us what to think of idle men of letters. Men of letters means writers. They waste their time. They also waste the resources of the state. Did I say they were idle? I wish they really were only idle. They were idle, but they were not only idle. Our morals would be healthier. Societies would be more peaceful. But these proud and empty talkers are not idle. They spread out everywhere. They go here and there. They carry harmful ideas. Their ideas attack our faith. Their ideas destroy virtue. They laugh at old words like patriotism. They laugh at old words like religion. They use their talents to destroy what people hold sacred. They do not truly hate virtue or our beliefs. They are only enemies of public opinion. They are only enemies of public opinion. They do not hate patriotism. They do not hate religion. They do not hate these old things. If we sent them to live among atheists, they might run back to church. Oh, desire for fame, you stop at nothing. Wasting time is a great evil, but even worse evils come with literature and the arts. One great evil is luxury. Luxury comes from laziness. Luxury comes from human vanity, pride. Luxury and the sciences appear together. They rarely appear without each other. So, sciences breed luxury. I know that our philosophers say strange things. They insist against history that luxury makes states great. They deny the importance of luxury taxes. Will they also deny that good morals are necessary for empires? Good morals. Will they deny that luxury is completely opposed to good morals? Let us admit that luxury shows a nation is rich. Let us even admit, if you wish, that luxury increases wealth. What should we conclude from this strange idea? What will happen to virtue when people pay any price for wealth? People pay any price for wealth. कहते हैं ना वो फलां पैसे का पुत्र है इसका मतलब ये होता है it actually means he or she compromises on humanitarian values for money, for wealth. They compromise over their values. If they have to tell a lie, they tell a lie because it will bring them money. If they have to cheat a friend, they go for cheating if it brings them money. This is what you say saying. People pay any price for wealth. Wealth becomes more important than humanitarian values. Philosophers of the ancient world always talked about morality. They always talked about virtue. Today, philosophers talk only about business. They talk only about money. One person will tell you a man is worth what he can sell for in Algiers. What is the price of a person? Another will say some countries have people worth nothing. Others have people worth less than nothing. They measure human value livestock. They measure human value as if they are like cows and buffaloes. They judge a man by what he consumes, by what he consumes, how expensive his or her dress is, how expensive his or her car is. It is consumption.
Yes.
So people judge a man by what he consumes. By their logic, only Sybarite was worth at least 30 Spartans. One Sybarite. One Sybarite. Sybarite means a person who is self indulgent in their fondness for sensuous luxury. So, by their logic, a person who is fondness of luxury was worth at least 30 Spartans. Guess which republic was conquered by a few peasants? Guess which one made Asia tremble? The empire of Cyrus was defeated by 30,000 men. They were led by a prince poorer than the poorest Persian governor. The Scythians were the poorest of all nations. Who were the Scythians? Scythia was a vast area north of the Black Sea. Scythia. So inhabitants of that region are Scythians. Scythians were the poorest of all nations. And yes, yet they resisted the greatest kings of the world. Two famous republics competed for world power. One was very rich, one had nothing. The poor one destroyed the rich one. The Roman Empire swallowed all the wealth of the world. Then it fell to people who did not even know what wealth was. So the Roman Empire swallowed the wealth of the whole world. So it became the most wealthiest. Became the wealthiest. So then it fell to people who did not even know what wealth was. So they were poor. The Franks conquered the Gauls. The Franks, it was a tribal confederation in Europe. And the Gaul, ancient country of Western Europe, comprising the region now occupied by France and Belgium. It was a region, Gaul, Gaul, Gaul. The Saxons conquered England. Saxons refer to the people that inhabited parts of central and northern Germany from Roman times. They were Saxons.
Dark ages में सर dark ages
From Roman time, yes, I think so. The Saxons conquered England. Their only wealth was bravery and poverty. Poverty was their wealth of the Saxons. Poor mountain people, wanting only a few sheepskins, broke the pride of Austria.
Austria.
They defeated the rich and powerful house of Burgundy. Burgundy is the region of eastern France. All the power and wisdom of the heir of Charles V, filled with the riches of the Indies, was defeated by a handful of fishermen. Indies refers to a region in and near southern and southeastern Asia. It includes India, Indochina, and the East Indies. Indies. Let political philosophers stop their calculations. Let political philosophers stop their calculations. Let them think about these examples. Yes, yes. Let them think about these examples. Let them learn that money gives everything except morality and citizens. Money thinks everything, money gives everything, but money does not give morality, it does not give good citizens. What is the real question about luxury? Rousseau says luxury is whether empires should be bright and short-lived or virtuous and long-lasting. I say brilliant, but what kind of brilliance is it? In long-lasting and wealthy empires, okay, it is brilliant, but what kind of brilliance is it? Love for luxury and love for honesty cannot live together. Minds filled with small and trivial concerns cannot rise to greatness. Minds filled with small concerns and trivial concerns cannot rise to greatness. Even if they had strength, they would lack courage. Even every artist loves applause, admiration. Artists, they like poets, they like admiration, applauses, clapping. Praise is the sweetest part of his reward. सौ बोतलों का नशा है इस वाह वाह में. Have you heard? The poets say. The poets say, सौ बोतलों का नशा है इस वाह वाह में. What will he do to get praise if he is born in a nation and at a time when fashionable scholars let shallow youth rule taste? What will he do when people give up their own taste just to please those who limit their freedom? What will he do when great plays and great music are abandoned because one gender approves only what matches the weakness of the other? What will he do, gentlemen? He will lower his genius. He will match the spirit of his time. He will choose to create ordinary works admired in his life. Ordinary works. He will refuse to create masterpieces valued only after his death. Tell us, great Voltaire, how many strong and powerful works did you abandon for our false delicacy? How much greatness and nobility did you sacrifice to shallow gallantry? So, the fall of morality, which comes from luxury, leads to the corruption of taste. If a man with great talent and strong character refuses to bow to his age and refuses to create childish works, he will suffer. He will die poor. He will die forgotten. Not many people will know him or her. Who was he or who was she? I wish this were only a prophecy, but experience proves it. Carl and Pierre, the time has come. Your brushes were meant to decorate holy temples with sacred images. Soon you must drop them or use them to decorate coaches with indecent pictures. And you, Pagal, unmatched artist, rival of Praxiteles and Phidias, your hands should create gods worthy of worship. But even you must carve the belly of a pashas, rulers. So the artists, they have to please the rulers or else do nothing at all. When we think about morality, we cannot avoid looking back lovingly at the simple life of long ago. A beautiful shore appears in our memory. It was decorated only by nature. We look toward it again and again. We turn away from it only with regret. When people were innocent and virtuous, they were happy to have the gods watch their actions. So they believed in God. They lived with the gods in the same small huts. So in old days, ancient times, Rousseau is talking about, people lived with the gods in the same small huts. Soon they became wicked. People became wicked. They grew tired of such close company with the gods. They pushed the gods into grand temples. Grand temples. Later, they drove the guards from the temples too. They moved into those temples themselves. Now the priests and the Molvis, they live in the temples. The temples of the gods became almost the same as the houses of citizens. This was the height of corruption. Immorality reached its peak when marble columns carved with Corinthian capital letters. Immorality reached its peak when marble columns carved with Corinthian capitals stood proudly at the doors of the rich. As comforts grow, as arts reach perfection, and as luxury spreads, true courage weakens. Military virtues fade. This decline comes from the sciences and from all the arts practiced in private. When the Goths invaded Greece, they saved the libraries from burning. Who were Goths? They were the people that invaded the Roman Empire from the east between the 3rd and 5th centuries. So, when the Goths invaded Greece, they saved the libraries from burning. One Goth said it was wise to spare the libraries. Why? He said their enemies would be distracted by books. The enemies of the Goths, they will stay busy with the books, so it will be easy to rule them. They would neglect military training. Charles VIII conquered Tuscany and Naples easily. Tuscany is a region in central Italy, and Naples both, they are in Italy. So Charles barely had to draw his sword. His court said this easy victory happened because the Italian princes and nobles enjoyed learning more than war. They were more focused on knowledge than preparing for war. The wise historian who tells these two events says something important. Many examples teach us this. In military matters, the pursuit of science weakens courage. In military matters, the pursuit of science weakens
Weakens.
courage. It softens it. It softens courage. The Romans admitted something important. The Romans admitted that military virtue died in their land when they began to love paintings and engravings, when they began to love jeweled objects and enameled objects, when they began to enjoy the fine arts. It seems that nation was destined to be an example forever. The rise of the Medicis and the return of letters destroyed again the military reputation of Italy. Medicis was Queen of France. Italy had seemed to recover that reputation a few centuries earlier, but it was lost again, perhaps forever. The Ancient republics of Greece had great wisdom. The ancient republics of Greece had
Had great
great
wisdom.
wisdom. This wisdom shone through most of their laws. They forbade their citizens from doing quiet and inactive jobs. These calm and sedentary jobs weaken the body. Soon they also weaken the soul. So, here let me draw your attention. That's sedentary lifestyles. Sedentary lifestyle means when we don't go for physical activity, we don't go for exercise, we don't do gym, we don't do enough walk. So these lifestyles are sedentary lifestyles. So Rousseau is saying sedentary lifestyles weaken the body, and in the long run, it also weakens the mind. So Plato, has also emphasized on the importance of physical activities in the whole education system. So all of us need to pay attention. We should have some time regularly for physical activity, for sports, for gym, for walk, for exercise. So soon they also weaken the soul. How can men face hunger, thirst, fatigue, danger, and death if they are crushed by the smallest need? If they are not rough and tough, if the people are don't have healthy, muscular, and strong bodies, so they cannot face hunger, thirst, fatigue, danger, and death. How can they face hardship if they are discouraged by the smallest difficulty? How will soldiers endure long, hard work if they are not used to it at all? How will they march eagerly under officers who cannot even ride on horseback? Will someone now try to defend these scientifically trained modern soldiers? People praise their bravery in a one day battle, but no one talks about how they handle long hardship. No one talks about how they endure cold or heat. No one talks about how they survive without small luxuries. A little sun or a little snow or the lack of a few unnecessary comforts can destroy one of our best armies in a few days. Brave warriors, listen to the truth you rarely hear. You are good soldiers. You would have won with Hannibal at Cannae and at Trasmene. Hannibal was a general from the ancient city of Carthage, and Cannae is an ancient town in southeast Italy, and Trasmene is the largest lake in central Italy. With you, Caesar would have crossed the Rubicon. Rubicon is a river in northern Italy. With you, he would have enslaved his country. But Hannibal would not have crossed the Alps with you. Alps is a mountain range in south central Europe. Mountain range. And Caesar would not have conquered your ancestors with you. Winning a battle does not always win a war. So, what time is it?
4:11.
4:11. Shall we continue?
Yes.
20 तक करते हैं
Uh, hmm?
20 तक
10 minutes more?
yes sir 20
Okay. For generals, there is an art greater than winning battles. A man may run bravely into fire, but he still may be a very poor officer. For an ordinary soldier, a little more strength and energy may matter more than a lot of bravery. Bravery cannot protect him from death. And what does it matter to the state whether its soldier dies from sickness or from winter cold or from the enemy's sword? If studying the sciences harms military qualities, it harms moral qualities even more. If studying the sciences harms military qualities, it harms moral qualities even more. From childhood, an absurd education system enlarges our minds, enlarges our minds, but it corrupts our judgment. I see huge institutions everywhere, Rousseau says. They cost a lot of money. They train our youth. They teach everything except their duties. So, what is now the education system doing in our lands? In Rousseau's time, I imagine it was doing the same in Europe.
Yes.
Their education system was as bad then as ours is now. Then the education system in Europe, it was not producing good citizens and good humans. So Rousseau was not happy on it. Just like we are not happy on our education system because it is not producing good citizens or dutiful citizens or good people. But I think the Europeans have learned a lot from Rousseau's message. Now they have reformed their education system in the light of Rousseau's instructions. Now their education system is producing good citizens, good humans. They are moral people. Most of them are moral people now. So
सर हम भी उम्मीद रखते हैं थोड़े से बाद हमारा भी ठीक हो जाएगा
yes. But we need to believe that Rousseau is relevant. Rousseau's humanitarian messages are relevant. If we are willing to learn from his message and we implement it in our education system, in our society, in our family, in our neighborhoods, then yes, it can. And it will. I'm hopeful. I believe in it. Surely, Pakistani society will become a developed society sooner or later. So they teach everything except their duties. Children will not know their own language. Education institutions, big education institutions, but they will speak others that are useful nowhere. Children speak the languages of others that are useful nowhere. So here I would like to say that in Punjab, we are doing a great injustice to our own language, that is Punjabi. There's a lot of wisdom in Punjabi literature produced by legends uh, for centuries. So I think we should not abandon our mother language, mother tongue. We should study Punjabi. We should teach Punjabi in our schools so
सर अब
that
तो चेंजेस आ रहे हैं
yes,
जैसे ही मरीम नवाज ने स्कूल्स में वो कर दिया
Punjabi.
अब पंजाबी एज सब्जेक्ट पढ़ाया जाएगा
Okay, that's good news. I don't know if it is going to happen. It's a good thing. This way, our younger generations will connect to our past.
सर जो सिख रात हैं ये सर इंग्लैंड में भी उनको पंजाबी बोलते हैं
Yes,
और
yes.
हम लोग जो हैं इधर जो अपने इसको जो है वो
Yes,
शर्मिंदा
yes.
होते हैं कि हमने पंजाबी क्यों बोली
Yes, I believe we are not doing good. We must teach our. It's very strange and it is irony. We cannot study, we cannot read a Punjabi book. We cannot write Punjabi. We are Punjabis.
लेकिन सर ये भी तो है हमें पंजाबी भी सही से नहीं आती उर्दू भी नहीं आती
Yes. So, yes, the best language one can learn is the mother tongue. So, if we teach the mother tongue in our schools, education institutions, then the children, then the next generation will become confident when they will come to languages. Because once they are confident in their mother tongue, they can read it, they can write it, they can express themselves in their mother tongue best. Then they will also be confident while speaking Urdu and English. So I'm going to conclude. What they will speak others that are useful nowhere. They will write poetry they barely understand. They cannot tell truth from error. They will learn to hide truth and error from others with clever and misleading arguments, but they will not know the meaning of duty. The dear name of the fatherland will never be heard by them. So, the education system is not teaching patriotism, it is not producing good citizens, good humans. This is what Rousseau is saying. So let us stop here and we will resume from here in the next class.
Inshallah.